In times of civil strife or natural disaster, it shall be the duty of the Foreign Service officer to take all necessary measures to ensure the safety and welfare of American lives and property abroad.
To many Americans, the Foreign Service officer is a man who sits in an office in a foreign country, examining visas, stamping invoices, and performing 100 similar humdrum duties during the course of his uneventful day. But to the American in trouble abroad, the Foreign Service officer is a guardian, policeman, father confessor, and helpful friend. For when trouble threatens, it is the Foreign Service officer who is responsible for the lives and property of his fellow countrymen. Since the turn of the century, nowhere in the world has a Foreign Service officer found himself plunged more often into the midst of violence and bloodshed in the defense of American rights than in the Orient, where Japanese invaders, revolution, local fighting, and natural disasters have been the cause of a long series of violent events. So tonight, we dedicate our program to the work of the Foreign Service officer in the Far East. Chinese revolutionaries attempted to seize an arsenal near the Huangpu River in Shanghai in the year 1913. It was no part of Consul Nelson Johnson's duty to try and stop them. But Consul Johnson was ordered into the thick of the fighting, nevertheless, by his superior, the Consul General.
Johnson, we just got word that the fighting has spread to the area around the American Mission Hospital near the arsenal. It looks fairly serious.
You think the Americans ought to be gotten out of there, sir?
Yes, I think you'd better try to get through to them and escort them back to the international settlement.
How many Americans are there, sir?
Oh, several, half a dozen or so. But the one we're chiefly worried about is Dr. Williams, the woman who runs the place.
I see.
Yes, she's a doctor, but she's rather feeble and elderly. And here she has heart trouble. Even if a bullet doesn't finish her, the worry and excitement may.
It's going to be a job moving her through the lines without exciting her.
I know that. You'll have to do the best you can. Make arrangements with the commanders on the spot if you can. Use your judgment.
Yes, sir.
And look out for yourself. You probably won't be fired undeliberately, but you might get caught in a crossfire.
Don't worry, sir. I'll get through all right.
Consul Nelson Johnson walks through the streets to the area of the heaviest fighting. Then dodges from doorway to doorway while bullets rake the narrow streets and alleys. At one point, he hops over the body of a dead soldier. Moving in short dashes from cover to cover, finally in a burst of speed, he makes the deep recessed gate of the hospital. But stops short when he finds himself confronted by an old lady seated in a chair in the middle of the entrance, fanning herself with a palm leaf fan.
Young man, what do you want?
I'm looking for Dr. Williams.
I am Dr. Williams.
But don't you know you shouldn't be sitting out here? It's dangerous.
Let us fix, young man. I have to sit out here. The soldiers try to use the hospital compound for cover. It disturbs the patients to have them so close. And of course there's no right to use it. So I sit out here and shoo them away when they come.
But your heart...
Oh, never mind my heart. It's my patients I'm worried about. What did you want with me, young man?
I'm from the American consulate. I was sent to escort the Americans here out of the danger zone.
You want us to go away and leave the hospital and all the patients with no one to care for them? Never heard of such a thing.
But it's dangerous for you here.
You're doing very nicely, young man. You just... Oh, there's one of those pesky soldiers back again. Hey! Hey, Grover! Hey, Trevor! You see? We'll be all over the place at no time if I weren't here to stop them.
I see.
You just run along back and thank the consul for thinking about us. And tell him not to worry. And mind you, don't loiter at that corner. She's been setting this down that phosphate every minute.
Protection wasn't wanted at the hospital. But Consul Nelson Johnson had to risk his life to find that out. His was the responsibility, but like all American consular officials abroad, he had no authority to order Dr. Williams and the other Americans to leave. Consuls can only advise Americans to evacuate danger spots. There were many ways in which American property might be menaced other than armed violence. Among them was occasionally the attitude of a local Chinese military commander who would sometimes use his position in rather irregular ways. It was midsummer in Canton when the Chinese representative of a well-known American sewing machine company came panting into the American consulate.
Mr. Penfield, I have just docked in a boat from Hong Kong with a cargo of 300 of my company's sewing machines.
Yes?
There are soldiers on the dock. They wish to collect a tax on my machines.
Well, I think there's a normal import tax on sewing machines, Mr. Wu.
But this is not the import tax. That has been paid. It is a special garrison protection tax imposed by the garrison commander here.
Well, that's illegal.
Most clearly. That is why I have come to you, sir.
Well, let's see. I can make a complaint to the civil authority.
Oh, no. That would not do at all. The civil governor would lose face if it were suggested he permits the military to act in an illegal manner.
Then I can go direct to the military commander.
Oh, no, never. The commander would lose face if you told him his tax is illegal.
Oh, you would, huh? You mean you want to save everybody's face and still not pay the tax?
That is correct, sir.
Well, come along down to the docks with me. I'll think of something, I hope.
That is the officer in charge of collecting the tax, Mr. Penfield.
I see. Oh, Captain.
Yes, sir?
Mr. Wu has a shipment of 300 sewing machines aboard that ship. I understand you want to collect a special tax on them.
Yes, sir. A 10% garrison tax, sir.
Well, I think there's some mistake. You see, those are American sewing machines.
Yes, I understand. But I must collect the tax on all goods coming in.
Well, that is most unfortunate. My government knows nothing about this special tax. They would be disturbed if it were levied on American goods. Perhaps His Excellency, your commander, has not yet had time to explain to the government in Nanking and to my government the necessity for this tax.
Well, perhaps not.
Suppose then that we agree on this, Captain. Until your commander has explained to Nanking and your government has made the regular arrangements with my government, no American goods shall be required to pay the tax. I'm sure everything can be settled satisfactorily after the arrangements are made.
Your words have reason. I'm sure when it is properly arranged, the taxes will be paid.
Undoubtedly. But meanwhile, I would be embarrassed and lose much face with my government if the tax were paid now.
Very well, then. The American machines need not pay the tax now. I will report your wise suggestion to the commander.
There are many and devious ways that American lives and property can be threatened, from the hazards of local battles to the whims of minor old-fashioned military commanders. But the most destructive and hazardous threat is that of nature itself. It was on September 1st in the year 1923. Modern times took the main capital got into conflict, and in a matter of minutes toppled the major cities of Tokyo and Yokohama, started fires that raged through the debris and rubble, trapping thousands of panic-stricken helpless people in the wreckage.
The Foreign Service Inspector, Shanghai, China. The State Department has lost all contact with the embassy in Tokyo and the consulate at Yokohama. You will therefore proceed at once to Yokohama with whatever help you need to take care of American interests and reestablish contact with the department. Signed, Hughes.
The Foreign Foreign Service inspector in the Far East was former consul Nelson Johnson, later to become America's first ambassador to China. Taking with him 2 Foreign Service officers and a Filipino clerk, he arrived a week later in the harbor of Yokohama and stood on the deck with his assistants, staring at the rubble that had once been a city.
Never saw anything like it before. Fire's still burning. After a whole week, doesn't look as if a single building's left standing. What do we do now, sir? Look for the American consul first. He's in there somewhere. He may be alive. Well, that's the American consulate. What's left of it. Guess we can't use that for an office. Little drafty. Do you think anyone could be under there? Doesn't look like it. We'll have to get a digging party to find out. Come on, let's get back to the ship. Mr. Johnson. Yes? Look. Under that beam. Let's see. Yes. It's the consul and his wife. Killed instantly from the looks of it. Oh, come in, Mr. Johnson. Thank you, Captain. Well, it looks like I'm going to need the Navy's help, and a lot of it. Anything I can do, Mr. Johnson? Well, first off, there isn't a building on shore I can use for an office. Yes, I can see that. You'll probably want a tent, won't you? About 16 of them, sir. And cots and blankets. There are more Americans arriving on foot from Tokyo every day. We've got to take care of them somehow. Yes. You need food stocks, of course. For 30 to 40 people a day. And drinking water. Right. Anything else? Yes, there's one thing more. The ship's carpenter had better make up some rough wooden coffins for me. Quite a lot of coffins. His office was a marine tent. His desk a cracker box. His chair the cot he slept in. In this tiny tent community amid the rubble, an emergency bank was set up. An office was opened for trans-Pacific ocean travel. Johnson and his staff handled visas, stamped invoices by lantern light, and carried on the essential routine. Homeless, destitute Americans streamed to the office. Were given food and shelter while they waited for passage home or looked for missing relatives and friends. And for long hours each day, the Foreign Service officers followed the cleanup squads, trying to identify the American dead. And when enough coffins were ready for burial, the man who was to become an ambassador joined the grave-digging detail that laid the victims in their final resting place. And when the crisis was over, the hotel keeper, grave digger, Foreign Service officers returned to their posts of routine duty, scarcely aware that they had written an honored chapter into the annals of the Foreign Service. Necessary as pink lemonade to the circus addict is the hot dog to the American baseball fan. And though few of them know it, the protection of the right of the baseball fan to his hot dog was once one of the odd concerns of the Foreign Service. In the remote steppes of Central Asia, known as Chinese Turkestan, live a hardy breed of sheep that, before the day of synthetic coverings, produced the finest casings in the world for American frankfurters.
Year after year, camel caravans carried the casings from Urumqi in Chinese Turkestan across the Gobi Desert to Chinese seaports, so that 1 million-odd baseball fans might get their hot dogs, full-flavored and succulent, in the tender, paper-thin casings of the Urumqi sheep. But in the year 1933, General Ma Chunyu, the white horse of the desert, raised the banner of rebellion, and all camel caravans came to a halt. And in the consular offices at Tianjin, a worried representative of a large American meatpacking concern spoke with the consul.
My company has bought $50,000 worth of the finest Urumqi casings for the next baseball season. We've got to get the shipment through from Urumqi before the season begins.
I don't see how I can help you, sir. I can't order the caravans to make the journey.
No, there isn't a chance the caravans will get through. So I want to organize my own caravan. A fleet of trucks to go through carrying the American flag to get the casings.
But do you realize there are no roads across the Gobi Desert? No roads into Turkestan at all. No one's ever tried to get through by car.
Yes, I know all that. But it's our only chance.
And besides, your cavalcade had to go through the territory of 6 Mongol princes, besides General Ma's war zone. Any or all of them might stop you.
Well, that's why I've come to you. Can you arrange for the authorities to give me orders for free passage through their lands?
We might, but you know yourself that in times like these, such orders may not be respected.
Well, it's impossible to have a baseball season without hot dogs. I'm willing to take the risks. Will you try to arrange for the orders?
Well, as I've said, there may be 2 strikes against us, but we're still at bat. Let's try.
Letters and telegrams span out from the consulate in Tianjin. The Chinese government authorities are approached. Weeks of negotiations ensue. And finally, the passage is arranged. A fleet of American trucks strikes into the uncharted wilderness, attempting to make its way across mountain and desert where no roads exist. No car has ever traveled before. The outward journey took 2 months, and then, loaded with casings, the trucks start back, racing against time through sandstorm, mud, wind, and torrential rain, finally to reach Tianjin on schedule. And that summer, in American ballparks... The perils and vicissitudes faced by Foreign Service officers in China were many and continuous through the years, but all of them were dwarfed by the impact of Japanese invasion and aggression in the 1930s. From Mukden to Shanghai, from Nanking to the ancient capital of Beiping, American property was damaged, looted, and destroyed by the advancing armies of the rising sun. But of all the incidents that led inexorably up to the fateful morning of December 7th, 1941, the most serious occurred on another December morning, some 4 years earlier. It was on the morning of December 12, 1937, that the USS Panay, with the staff of the American Embassy at Nanking aboard, was lying at anchor in the Yangtze River, a few miles up from Nanking. On the bridge, Second Secretary of the Embassy, George Atchison, was talking to the Panay's commanding officer, Commander Hughes, while shells from shore batteries splashed in the river near them.
Looks like we're getting closer. Yes, afraid we'll have to move further up the river. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. We've had to evacuate the embassy to follow the Chinese government, but I want to keep in touch with the Americans in Nanking as long as possible. It won't do much good to them with one of those shells, Fritzes. What the devil are they shooting at? I don't know. The only possible targets are the Chinese batteries on the opposite shore. Astonishing that four marksmanship. There isn't any chance they're shooting at us, is there? With the American flag flying? Impossible. But I'm going to give the order to move further upstream just the same.
The Panay and 3 American oil tankers moved on upstream to get clear of the Japanese shell fire that was falling uncomfortably close to the vessel. To the commanding officers, it was inconceivable that they were being fired on deliberately. They were unaware of an order already issued by the Japanese military.
To all commanders, Japanese Imperial Forces. All shipping on the Yangtze River will be destroyed without exception. You are urged to use all means to comply with this order.
It was at 11 o'clock in the morning that the Panay and the tankers reached their new anchorage, 27 miles from Nanking. Although all of the vessels flew the American flag and had flags painted on the superstructures to be visible from the air, Secretary Atchison insisted on a further measure of precaution.
Request you inform Japanese Embassy and armed forces, including air forces, move position of USS Panay and 3 American merchant vessels to avoid any error as to identity. Position follows. Mileage 221 above Wusung, 27 above Nanking.
2.5 hours later came the Japanese reply. A flight of light bombers emblazoned with the rising sun of Japan appeared out of the distance, cut swiftly through the still sunny air toward the Panay, suddenly dived. On the bridge, Commander Hughes watches the plane with unbelieving eyes. Suddenly springs into action.
All to general quarters! Man battle station!
Commander Hughes is thrown across the bridge, knocked unconscious, his leg painfully shattered. On the deck, gun crews try to get the mounted machine gun into action. A spray with bullets as the second plane dives in. Executive Officer Lieutenant A.F. Anders attempts to man a machine gun by himself. Is wounded in both hands, then makes his way to the bridge for instructions and finds his commanding officer helpless, there to counter. Don't worry, sir. I'll take over. Wounded in both hands, his throat pierced by flying shrapnel, Lieutenant Anders helps carry Commander Hughes to cover. Then takes command of the ship, writing his orders on the white paintwork of the bulkhead, because he can no longer speak. In a forward cabin, officers of the embassy were working when the first bomb stopped. They are thrown across the room in a welter of heavy filing cases, desks, and chairs.
Oh, my leg! My leg! Get the case on him. Help me get him out of here. Oh, hey, are you hurt? No, just bashed my knee. Give me a hand with gas. Hey, look, the water's coming in. Give me a hand with him. Hurry!
Within a few minutes of the last attack on the Panay, Lieutenant Anders gave the order to abandon ship. The last bulkhead was still yards from the marshy shore, and 2 Japanese patrol boats cruised downstream and began to circle the Panay.
What do you think the boats are up to, Captain? Come to rescue the survivors? Maybe. I don't know. They're raking the bridge. Rescue nothing. They've come to kill the survivors. Get the shore fast and hide the boat. When they find there's nobody aboard, they'll come looking for it. Hurry.
Japanese patrols toward the Panay, the survivors hide themselves in the dense underbrush of the swampy shore and hold a hurried council of war.
Is it really possible they mean to hunt out and kill all the witnesses to the attack? Looks like it. But didn't we get an SOS out?
Hey, we didn't, sir. I tried, but the transmitter went dead when the first bomb hit.
Listen, the planes are back. Keep down, everyone. We're in the swamp.
That settles it. They're looking for us. They're going away. George, what do you think we ought to do?
Well, first, of course, they're the wounded. Then we've got to let the outside world know what's happened.
Yes, and until we do, our lives are in danger every moment.
We have at least 13 stretcher cases, sir. And even after we build the stretchers, our progress is going to be awfully slow.
Exactly. We can't travel in daytime with Jap planes looking for us. But one man might get through with luck. George, if you'd agree, I'd like to try it.
I thought you were wounded, Pat.
Oh, nothing serious. Afraid I wouldn't be any help with the stretcher cases, but I can carry my own weight. Besides, I speak Chinese, and that'll be necessary on such a trip.
This is a pretty desolate stretch of country, you know. It's about 50 miles to Chosian, which may be the nearest town with a telephone.
I think I can make it, sir.
Okay, then. Have a shot at it. And good luck.
Although painfully wounded in the arm and knee, Foreign Service Officer Hall Paxton sets off on his lonely, arduous trek through the swamp without food or water, on a mission that may mean life or death to his comrades. And in the swamp, the survivors wait for nightfall, then send out parties and relays to obtain food, bamboo beds, and boards from pig pens to make improvised stretchers for the wounded. Traveling at night and resting by day, the party laboriously makes its way from the danger area. Once, Japanese planes circled low over their daytime hiding place and failed to spot them. On the second day, reports reached them that 1,000 Japanese soldiers had crossed the river and are searching for them. And finally, the soldiers only 6 miles behind them, Foreign Service Officer George Atchison reached a military phone in the tiny garrison town.
Hello. Is this Dr. Taylor and King? This is George Atchison of the embassy. Please rush through this message to the ambassador at Hankow by any means available.
At last, George Atchison got the news of the Panay incident through to the world. The peril to the survivors was over, and the next day came official word from a Japanese spokesman.
The Japanese government sincerely regret the error of identification that caused the sinking of the Panay. Our Navy will be most happy to escort the survivors to safety if they will tell us where they are.
The Panay incident is now history. The memory of its horror faded before the memories of more recent atrocities. For historians, it remains only as a gloomy signpost on the ugly road to war. But for the man in the street, it is a brighter signpost to the character and mettle of Americans when danger threatens. A reminder of Foreign Service Officer Hall Paxton, alone and wounded, traversing 50 miles of open country under Japanese attack to try and get word of the sinking to the outside world. Of Secretary George Atchison, who commanded one of the escape parties and was first to reach a telephone and flash the news. And of the wounded and dying, who bore their sufferings bravely because it was their duty.